wonderful listeners. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Teaching Tales. I'm your host, Michelle Dennis, and today we're thrilled to have a guest who's not only an educator but also a scientist at heart. But before we get into our inspiring conversation, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Suraasa to stay updated with our amazing episodes. So, without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to our very special guest, Shaikh Abdulla, with his rich background in medical laboratory technology and a passion for teaching. Sheikh has made a significant impact in both the healthcare and education sectors. He's currently pursuing his PhD in health science and has a wealth of experience as a lead laboratory technician and teacher. Even with his busy schedule, Sheikh has graciously joined us today, and we're so excited to delve into his journey and insights. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That's a good thing to be on Suraasa again, to be on the platform, to be connected even after completing your PgCTL in here. And really glad and pleasure to be with you.
We're so happy to have you back here. I mean, it's always lovely to catch up with you and have conversations. So I'm going to dive right into our conversation today. So I was going through your profile and noticed that you've had quite a diverse journey. You've, from being a librarian to a lead laboratory technician, and now you're pursuing a PhD in health science. Can you share some pivotal moments that shaped your career path?
Well, teaching has always been my backbone. I've always loved to be a teacher from the time I've been a student myself. And that's how it went with time, that I saw that there has to be something, there has to be a relation with my career and passion. And obviously, as always, I've been saying to many of my students, to the people I meet, that I always like to combine my passion and my career together. So teaching has been a passion, and career was always a medical lab. And that's what it went along together as I was progressing with time, that I completed my studies in medical field. I became a medical lab technologist. I became a clinical scientist, got a vast experience in working at hospitals, at clinics, at different places in medical field. And with time, the teaching had always been behind, which is in the form of tutoring at home, tutoring at institutions, and of course, getting to work in a school without a degree just after completing my high school, which was the first stage or first step in teaching. That was 12 years before. So this teaching period of 12 years had always been with me till date, and progressing with medical field that combined my passion and career together, which led me that, okay, let's go ahead and then take up a PhD, which will help me to be into a university as a lecturer, combining my passion and my career of teaching and medical field together. So in between, many things have gone in terms of getting more knowledge, things of getting a PgCTL, which added an additional qualification to my teaching, that I feel that, okay, not just a PhD, but a PgCTL will also help me to be standing in front of the university, in front of so many number of kids and giving that lecturing done. So it's an additional boost and a bonus that I have got with my PhD.
Great. That's awesome to hear. So you've mentioned now, through this conversation, you've mentioned a passion for teaching. So from you've taught TOEFLs and IELTS to medical health science, like what drives your passion for educating others, and how do you keep your teaching methods engaging?
Well, first important thing is that the first thing when I get any student, or if it's just like I get any contact with any student, the first thing is to understand the level of the student. And that's the first thing, the first assignments that usually we get in Suraasa or in the PgCTL is actually to understand what type of a student our student is. Basically, is a kinesthetic learner? Is he a reader or a writer? That's how first we have to understand. Until we don't understand that important point, we will not be able to build that trust in the student, because we get different diverse students, and diverse students always have different ways of learning. And it's not the cup of tea of every teacher sometimes to be able to modify yourself or tweak your lessons according to what is the requirement of the student, So keeping all that in the brain and identifying, basically making a diagnostics to find out how the student's level is and what is the category to which we need to teach the student as experimental, video-based or kinesthetic. I prepare my lessons accordingly and then teach them so that I get to know how I can improve it and make it more better. So during this process of time, It does take time because I was teaching many different types of things. And
Mm.
as I told you, during this 12 years of background, it's not just being a teacher at an institute or
Yeah.
school, but it's also being an academic coordinator for an institute. So that plays an important role where you have things already set up according to the requirement of your
Yes.
students. So that's how it just gets. So you just need to take out some time, perform the diagnostics, and definitely the teaching, planning, and everything is also very important. That I have the special tools which are now available easily, which can be used as an aid, like IAs. Of course, we have now our artificial intelligence, we have our chat GPT, and many different types of programs which are really very helpful for students to understand, and includes all different 4 types of categories of learning and make the student feel that yes, he or she can go ahead with the chapter or with the subject, etc.
Great. That's just awesome. So we've talked about your passion for teaching. We talked about what drives your passion for teaching. And my next question to you is, like, given your extensive background in laboratory work, and that you've been what do you say? You've been a coordinator you've been a teacher, you've worked in behind the scenes in the medical field, all of these things, like, what prompted you to pursue PgCTL? I know you said that you initially mentioned that you want to be able to teach in the university, but I'm sure there's more to it, right? That you see in PgCTL, like, okay, this is the course that I need to take to further my career in teaching. So what was that?
Right. So technically speaking, definitely my degree, my background is the medical field, as it had to go ahead and I had to pursue it. But in order to function in schools in UAE and internationally, especially when I say about foreign schools, that is British syllabus or American syllabus, it is very important that you follow the criteria of the government also based in the country. And one of the important criteria for the Dubai government or Sharjah government is to have now the diploma program. Like, for example, in UAE for the past 3 years, they do ask for PhD. Like, if you need an approval for a teacher, you need to have a diploma in education or at least a B.Ed. Now, there is an age frame, like definitely now I have completed bachelor's, master's, diploma in all medical field, and now just completed with a PhD. Who is going to turn back to complete a B.Ed's degree, which is going to take an additional 2 years of your time? So completing a PgCTL, which is recognized by internationally, it's a UK certificate first of all, recognized internationally, and we are getting a KHDA approval for UAE. And now soon, within the next year, because we just recently found out yesterday, the Sharjah government is asking for the new academic year of 25-26, all the teachers should have a diploma program also, along with their bachelor's degree. So that is going to be now something which is initiated in Sharjah also, which will help all teachers who cannot go and do a B.Ed because they don't have one. They can go ahead and pursue with PgCTL, which will help them complete the program in 10 months and achieve a recognized certificate, which will be used not only in UAE, but all over the world. So that additional thing that made me feel that, okay, I will be known as an international teacher by just taking a PgCTL certificate, drew me that why not add it as an additional qualification, which is a strong additional qualification, which will go along with my PhD and definitely will help me stay stable in the university and at the school where I function right now. Because recently, 3 weeks ago, I have been taken as a fixed teacher in my school, not only being a lead lab technician on the basis of my PgCTL, and I'm not directly teaching Key Stage 3, straight Key Stage 4, like GCSEs and Year 11s. So that is one of the achievements that I have achieved, all because of having a PgCTL, which wouldn't have been done only with a medical degree.
That's great. First, congratulations on getting the fixed position. That is great. I from our previous conversations also, I know how much you love being a teacher. So yes, that is a great achievement for you to have. Amazing. Great. So now let's dive into something a bit more personal. So, see, beyond your incredible work in education and science, we're curious to learn more about the man behind the profession. Like, can you share some of your favorite hobbies or interests that bring you joy outside of the lab and the classroom?
To be honest, it sounds weird, but the most important thing that I enjoy being outside of the school and the lab is also a lab. Because I have my own lab set up at home, which I use in doing experiments at home like a scientist. And those experiments I upload on my YouTube channel. So I am a YouTuber And besides that, of course, I do my resin art, which is my hobby again, where I create different resin activities and resin products. And of course, this all comes onto my hobbies where I can create and teach students what needs to be done in that. So behind the scene also, it's a teaching work. And lastly, the most important of all, I serve the government of Sharjah by being a scout and a scout leader. So I have students coming to me every summer, spring and winter breaks where I teach them scientific experiments. And in these scientific experiments, we just try to deal with and teaching them different criteria, different things which they don't do at school actually. So it's like, again, it's everywhere teaching, even back behind the scene. It's like teaching is in the blood, is moving in every part of my body. That's the thing, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me something. So you said you have a lab, like you go from school
Lab
where
setup
you
at
have
home,
a,
yes.
and you go home, you have a lab. You're like taking the scientists with you everywhere you go. You said
Everywhere, yes. So that's the thing.
you do resin art. So do you ever use your art as part of your teaching?
Yes, definitely. Yes. So when I
And
want to do my resin art, it is something called, so the way of creating a resin art, of course, is a design type. It's a home science activity. And that home science classes, I take it at school in the form of a CCA, which is co-curricular activities, which my students do. Then when I teach them the home science behind it, it sounds like homework, but basically it's basically a science on that, because when you need to measure an amount or a quantity of a specific chemical, because you're using chemicals,
yeah,
it's what they learn in chemistry. That's stoichiometric calculations. So they need to know some ratio, mass, moles, and all these things with lots of fun. That's adding some colors and designs to it.
nice.
So it's everywhere, like it's
Have
always
you
connected.
have you ever had like a crazy incident in your lab where someone put a little extra something and it just blew up?
Well, that happens sometimes at home where my mom's is behind me all the time for doing something or the other, creating a mess. My fridge is filled sometimes with agar plates, which is for the bacterial culture. So those are the
Oh God.
new agar plates. And she's like, this is something that's to be eaten and you're keeping your stuff in here. You better get your own fridge now. So I can't give you my space anymore. Then she'll find me in the kitchen doing some other experiments or preparing solutions for the students or for my YouTube channel. And that's where she's just busy yelling. But at the same time, I'm definitely sure she's proud of me, because what she hears the feedback from the people who watch me, even at her school, definitely she might be feeling proud, and that's why she doesn't be that much strict with me.
So I don't know if you've ever watched this cartoon. There used to be a cartoon called Dexter's Laboratory.
Dexter, yes, of
Do
course.
you
So
ever
it's
feel
basically
that I
that's a
wish
replica
I
of
had
me.
a secret layer with the laboratory like
Yeah.
Dexter?
That maybe that I used to be watching that back in 1996,
Right?
1997. But then, yeah, so that's what maybe inspired me, that I keep on doing this type of experiments at home and I just simply create them. And that's how I utilize it in the classroom sometimes when we don't have specific resources. Because by one thing I learned by doing these small experiments at home, because definitely I won't get a range of stuffs at home because of protocols and everything. But things that help you to do is that you can understand how can you use or conduct experiments using limited resources. So that's what I have learned also, that same thing which I apply in school. So if I haven't got a specific resource, let's find an alternative to it, but in the end reach to the same endpoint.
That's great. That also gives your students a way of what do I say, troubleshooting.
Correct.
Like when you're faced with an obstacle, rather than give up, you're like, okay,
Right.
let me find alternatives. Let me see what else can I do to ensure that I'm reaching the same results, which is amazing.
Right.
Which is also in a way, also teaching them life skills.
Right, exactly.
That's amazing. One more thing that you mentioned is that you do scouts, right?
Yeah.
So that's like scouts and guides.
Scouts and guides, correct.
I'm so surprised. I actually did not know that Sharjah had a Scouts and Guides program, but
yes,
that's
they
so
had
cool.
it from the time they had it from the time when I was in grade 4. Before that, actually, and I have so many, like I'm an award leader at the second level. So the ones who are my above heads and those leaders, they have been like, they are elder to me and they have been doing scouting from their time of age. So at the age of maybe 12, 11, they had started scouts. So I followed the scouts people. I was a scout in my old school, and I've got a chance of being there, and I conduct my experiments, and I've also been telecasted on Sharjah TV
Oh,
and on
very
YouTube
nice.
on that thing also, where they've shown me doing the experiments for all the students who come for our spring, summer, and winter breaks, and they learn different experiments as science and technology, where they
Wow,
try
that
to combine three subjects and use how can we basically the STEM experiments we conduct in there, and they try to combine the like a group 4 project of different subjects together and how we can implement it in our real life. So it's all
wow.
been telecasted. Dubai does have their own scout system, and they are known as the Emirates Scout. But since I'm under Sharjah, as I've been always a scout from Sharjah from my old school, so that's how it made me continue over there.
Wow, that's great. Like your schedule sounds so full.
Tight. full, very
It's so
full.
fun. Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna get home from school and then I'm gonna go to my lab and then
True.
on during the summer break you're so busy. Like you're such a busy man. I'm so glad that you took the time out to sit with us, give us a bit of your time so we
Pleasure
can
to be here.
have
Pleasure
this
to be with Suraasa.
conversation.
Yeah.
So talking about your hobbies, you're also making an impact, right? So, talking about how teachers can inspire the next generation, can you tell us about a teacher from your school, college, or university who inspired you? A teacher who had a significant impact on your life, on you as a person, or on your professional life?
If I'm allowed to take the name of my school or the name of my teacher, definitely then it would be, I've actually gone to 2 schoolings basically. So my first schooling was School of Knowledge, which has created that base into me of loving and increasing the passion of teaching. I wouldn't have had the passion of teaching if I wouldn't have ever been into that school from KG1 to grade 6. Bad luck, that school is only till grade 6. They don't ever have a secondary school. Otherwise, my life would have been continued there. And then when I changed my school to another school, Al Ansar, where I was from grade 7 to grade 12, the only 3 teachers who helped me get that or build that confidence or keep my passion of teaching alive in me were my English teacher, was my biology teacher, and was my maths teacher. The combination of these 3 teachers, who I saw them not only working in school, but their free time. Nowadays, when the teachers get their free lessons, it's just that they want to relax. They want to have their cup of coffee. Their free lesson used to be hunting for us to give us an extra class. Whereas they are not getting any additional pay. Neither were they getting any appreciation. But it was just that they could see something in us which made them feel that, yes, we may make them proud in the future. And that's what happened. And back at home, now, of course, definitely you need to spend your time with your family. You need to spend your time for yourself. You need to have your own pampering time.
Absolutely.
But imagine a teacher who's spending his rest of the hours at home till the next day preparing special notes for you so that you can excel your exam. These were my 3 teachers for maths, biology, and English who did that for us and kept me inspired always. And that's what I learned, and I said, yes, if they can do this, why not we take an initiative as teachers who can do that? It's just like not that much time, but a bit of more time which we can do, keeping aside that in the end, teachers are definitely nowadays, teachers are not that much respected or considered compared to other professions. But the truth behind, as I had always mentioned before in my previous video also, that it is the teachers who have made you reach to that position of being a specific professional in life. Like, for example, you have become a professional in your life just because you were once a student and that teacher made you or brought you to that position. It is the student's hard work, no doubt, but at the same time, it's the teacher who has given you that information, that knowledge, that brought you to that point. So that's what kept me drive always, that yes, these are the 3 teachers I need to follow, and if they could do this for me, I can do up to my extent what level best that what I can do for my kids, students. And I've kept that constant, keeping this, what I've learned from them, I've kept this in my brain always.
Wow, that they sound amazing, and I absolutely agree with what you say, that teachers are the ones who show you the path. They're there to tell you that, hey Michelle, hey Sheikh, this is the path that you can take. And it's at the end of the day, the students have to walk that path if they want to see that success that the teacher knows that they can achieve. And I'm sure you have many students like that who you look at and you see like, wow, this student has extreme potential and they're going to do so well.
Correct.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure you have a couple of them where you personally mentor and you talk to them, you try to put them on the
Right.
path that
Yeah.
you feel that yes, they could excel and all those things. So,
Correct.
do you
Correct.
have any such students or one student that pops in your mind that
Yeah. I've
you
got
have seen,
my
you know,
yeah.
grow stage
Yes.
on stage?
I won't. There are many, to be honest. Right now, also, I have one in the school, two in the school who have been mentored to be his mentor because they are writing their GCSEs. So the school chooses every teacher for different students of year 11 and year 13 students to mentor them during this period of 1 year so that they can write their examinations and all. But then the most important or the most closest person I would talk to is about my best friend who became my best friend in 2016. So it's not a way long time. It's
All
just like
right.
quite nearby. So he was
Yes.
a friend who became a friend, who's not been to school ever, he's a dropout in grade 5. His age
Okay.
is now 28. He
Mm-hmm.
joined schooling 3 years before, and that's also because he became my friend. And the inspiration I saw in him that yes, he can do something, just in 2 months of meeting, changed his life in such a way that he finished his grade 10, he finished his grade 12, and then he's now in his last years of his bachelor's degree.
Wow.
So that growth is that I could see that the time period from being a friend to a student-teacher relationship was a later process, but being a friend and then pulling him towards this process, I could see the difference. And now he's working at a place in government, which he's getting a really great, appreciation, salary, everything just by completing this period of time. And that's all because of he's just 1 year still left to complete his degree, but still because of the programs, the courses that he had taken place and he had listened to me, it worked out. So it all depends
Wow.
also upon the student whether they will accept it or not, and he was the one who accepted it. And my mentoring, I
Absolutely.
felt, did help him that where he is right now.
Oh wow. That's such an inspiring story. Like not just in terms of a student-teacher relationship, but also in terms of the fact that education, learning has no age limit.
It has no age limit, no time period. You can just, it's a lifelong process. It's a process
Absolutely.
like your body. That's all. It's a lifelong
That's
process.
amazing. Thank you for sharing the story. This is a very, very inspiring story. Like meeting someone who dropped out in fifth grade and then, being able to inspire them to go back, finish their schooling,
At the
not
age of
just
25, 26 is not easy to get back
oh,
to finish your schooling all the way to your degree program. And then at that moment, thinking in life, what is the future? How is he going to get a job in this? Because the world is competing. The places are it's a whole of competition. And after COVID, definitely it's more competition going on.
yep,
It's not easy to get jobs, especially if you're from a field of BBA or you're from a field of BCom, which is a non-science stream. It's more difficult because there are
yeah,
so
very
many
true.
people with those certifications, with those knowledge, but there are less positions to place people on. So to get a government job in UAE with that qualifications and with that period of time, is that now he has a brain set, he has his objective and his aim ready, that he is going to end up his studies only after completing a PhD.
Wow, that's
That's
amazing.
his fixed. That's the fixed thing. Yeah.
You met someone, you inspired them, you brought them back to the line of education. Not just they didn't just set their what do you say their aspirations to okay, I just need to complete my my schooling and then my degree. No, he has set his aspirations so high, and that's amazing. Like that's a testament to one, you being an amazing friend, and two, you being an amazing teacher, and
It is
three, the inspiration that you
true.
are, the amount of how inspiring you are. Like I can feel that inspiration. Like when you talk about him, I'm like, wow, like I'm so impressed. I'm
It
so
makes me feel
inspired.
proud to see him at this place. It makes me feel that okay, fine. 6 years ago, what was the condition, and now what it is. It's a flash of a second. Everything just changed from zero
Absolutely.
to, let's say, it's at a higher point. Yeah.
Wow, like as a teacher, I'm sure like that fills your heart and you're like, oh my God, you're like on top of the world, like
Yeah.
when you hear this,
I'm
right?
getting
Like
goosebumps, when I just talk about it, I'm getting goosebumps now. That's the thing, that's the
that's
funniest thing. Yeah.
amazing. That's so like just like your teachers, you are making such a profound impact on lives. That's amazing, and thank you so much for sharing this with us. So, moving on, we're almost at the final segment of the podcast, which is the rapid fire round. I'm sure you have seen this in our previous episodes as well. This is the
True.
segment where I'm going to ask you 10 questions. I'm going to give you 120 seconds to answer them. Wait, hold on. Let me just put on my timer. Okay, so Sheikh, are you ready to face our
Yeah.
rapid fire round?
Correct. Okay.
All right. Start. If not a teacher, what would you be?
Clinical scientist.
What's your favorite way to relax after a long day of teaching?
Experimenting and researching.
If you could have a superpower in the classroom, what would it be?
To conduct experiments always, to just make them indulged and just like busy always. Yeah.
Okay. What's the most important item that you always carry as a teacher?
My red pen.
Okay. Oh, one word you would use to describe Suraasa.
The future of all teachers. It's a sentence, but that's the truth actually. That's the truth.
If you could have a celebrity in your classroom, who would it be? It could be any celebrity, actor, sports person, author, fashion designer. Who would it be?
It would be scientist, Marie Curie.
Wow, nice. If you could implement one major change in the education system, what would it be?
I would like to involve more and more of kinesthetic learning, because of looking at today's generation, I feel that students are more into, of course, definitely many schools have now opted modern technology to teach, but kinesthetic learning is something which is really very important for every individual, and no one would say no to it.
All right. Great. Share a funny nickname your students have given you or you have given to any of your students.
To my student, one of the students, I call her Burble. Okay, actually it's Purple, but we call her Burble. Okay, and a funny name to me, no one has given me a funny name, but yes, my students do not call me, the higher grade students do not call me sir, they call me with my nickname Abud, because they feel it friendly. They find me friendly, so they just call me Abud. Abdullah's Abud.
Yeah. I think a lot of people in the UAE have those
that's common, common nicknames, house names.
Yes. I used to have a classmate called Abdullah. They used to call him Abudi.
Yeah, Abudi, yeah, correct. Mom calls me Abudi. In the school they call me Abud.
Okay. A book every person should read.
A book. To be honest, I'm not a good reader, but I know how to be a good teacher. They should go through that book.
Okay. An app that you use as a teacher on an everyday basis.
On an everyday basis, the app that we use is basically Caboodle, because it has all our textbooks inside, and which is a kind of an application. But besides that, I would like to use YouTube to show them the experimental videos due to lack of time if I'm not in the class.
All right. Great. Awesome. That was fun. You were not able to stick to the 120 seconds, but still, I had fun with your. I liked the answers to all your questions. It was very nice. Most of your questions, though, we've already talked. Like, what would be your pastime? I could already guess it. I was like, I'm sure Sheikh is gonna say going home and doing experiments. That's like
definitely. Yeah.
All right, great. So before we end the podcast today, I'd like you to share a message with all the aspiring teachers out there. What would you like to tell them why they should pursue teaching?
As at the start of the conversation, I had mentioned that we are the ones who are shaping the future of our future generation. We have to be modeling our excellence at every moment, at every time. Students learn from us because we teachers are the second parents, like the school is the second home for the students. We are the second parents. since we are the one who are going to shape their future, we should make sure that we do our best always in order to help them out at any time they want and at any moment of life they get stuck. And to be a future teacher is just that you don't stop learning, the kids will not stop learning. So you keep continuing your education, keep learning. It's going to be more and more of fun. Definitely take out some time for yourself also. But don't forget one thing, that in the future, after many years, when that specific student you will see at some point of your life, that student will always remember you.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful message, Sheikh. And thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on our podcast today. I had an absolute blast talking to you, as always. And thank you for being such a sport and, playing in our rapid fire session. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. I will be back soon with another guest on our show. Until then, keep your passion for teaching alive. This is Michelle and Sheikh. See you next time. Bye.